As you may know, a fair few creators have recently been coming out with their own experiences regarding Hopeless Peaches, and I decided to get my perspective out there as well. I felt that it was important to include in the dialogue that is happening right now, as I'm just another example of many creators that Peaches has lied about, subtweeted at, and thrown under the bus. Hi guys, gals, gays, and theys, I'm Omnia, and today I'm going to be talking about my less than ideal experience with Hopeless Peaches. A fair few of you might know a little bit about the story if you watched Thuman's art commentary channel's Do Better video, but I'm going to cover even more than that video did, including everything that has transpired during my short relationship with Peaches. I'll also try to illustrate why her behavior is not just an isolated incident, but a pattern of behavior that she has been exhibiting for multiple years at this point. The first time I spoke to Hopeless Peaches directly was when I posted my top 5 worst things about the art community video, which was essentially inspired by Peaches' art community pet peeves, what I hate about the art community video.
I originally got the idea for this video from the amazing, sweet, and talented YouTuber Hopeless Peaches. Her content is so great and she's recently been blowing up, which I couldn't be happier for. Her video, titled Art Community Pet Peeves, What I Hate in the Art Community, not only spit straight facts, no printer, but all her points are so accurate and she highlights them in such a way that exposes how absolutely dumb they sound. If you haven't watched her video, you should definitely check her out. She has really good content.
As you heard, I spoke really highly of her in that video and genuinely looked up to her art and her approach to content. I premiered that video on August 28th, and she even showed up in the live chat and commented under the video when the premiere ended. That day was also the day we began DMing one another and chatting privately. Obviously, I'm not going to be showing any of the DMs in this video, because I'm sure you remember how well that blew over last time.
Let us be completely blunt. You have shut your credibility!
But we started talking on August 28th, and by September 28th, these were our last words before our relationship pretty much ended. We literally only talked for about a month, but I'll explain why the relationship was so short and the reasons why it ended so abruptly. Something I noticed quite quickly after our first couple weeks of DMing was the fact that Peaches would talk a lot about other art commentators and her opinions of them to me, despite the fact that I was not acquainted with a majority of the people she mentioned. If you are not aware, I started my YouTube channel in June, and I honestly have not really talked to a good majority of other art commentators because I'm just a naturally very skeptical person and I'm afraid of associating with the wrong crowd. Although I didn't know the full story about these creators, I trusted Peach's perspective as she has been in the art community for about 2 years and thought she was being truthful in her perspective. Though I have recently come to find out that that is false, and Peaches has been lying about a lot of the creators she spoke to me about privately. However, anytime she would express her grievances with another creator, I would try and affirm her not knowing the full story, instead sympathizing and letting her know that I supported her. One example of an instance like this was with this DM that I sent, where I said, quote, "I'm really glad I haven't been associating with that many YouTubers, cause not gonna lie, I'm kinda scared of most of them, lol. Unless I look up to you or I really like your content, trust and believe I will stay in my corner. I feel like I'm a very skeptical person, so the people I do associate with, I trust a lot. I'm really honored to be an acquaintance to you. I don't know if we're friends yet, but I would love to be over time, because I look up to your content and you always have good takes on things. I know you're a genuinely good person. You're quirky, and some people might not jive with that, but considering all that you've gone through, you come off as a really relatable and likable person, and that's why I'm happy to be talking to you. Most other YouTubers I watch from afar, or I'm way too skeptical / afraid to associate with, which is why when you commented on my video, I was like, so my life is made. I'm just afraid of people, I don't know. I just don't want to be around a bad crowd or people who will end up treating me the way has been treating you. It's scary the way people switch up. I'm sorry this has happened to you, Peaches. You don't deserve that, and I wish nothing but the best for you going forward. You have my support. At the time, I genuinely didn't know the same thing would happen to me, but I guess we can just chalk it up to foreshadowing. Aside from that, Peaches and I were on pretty good terms before I dropped the godforsaken Faults of Toby video that we all have come to love and adore. At the time, she expressed to me that she liked the video and she seemed pretty supportive of Kai and I. She even expressed feeling decently about the DM leak when I sent it to her directly into our Discord chat. I obviously can't show you evidence of that claim from our private DMs, but I'll get into more public evidence of that being being the case. So when I first leaked the DMs, she was both publicly and privately supportive. She commented under this tweet where I explained the reason why I decided to ultimately leak the DMs. The comments Peaches has under this tweet are still there, by the way, so if they suddenly disappear, Peaches probably deleted them. Regardless, she said, quote, "Ugh, heck, I had very serious private info of mine spread and cut up. I would have killed for somebody to have shared the full context instead of cherry picking and spreading the worst interpretation from it. Of course, it not being shared would have been best. A bit of a blunder there on that one. Oof. Maybe an apology to clear the air? And if it's not yet, blur it out." She's referring to the personal story, which I did end up apologizing for and blurring out immediately after I knew Toby didn't want it in there. But otherwise, this is proof that she was otherwise alright with the DM leak. She's also subtweeted a shit ton about the Toby situation at the height of the drama and dropped a couple of tweets that further prove that she was initially okay with the DM leak. In this subtweet, Peaches corroborates by saying that the drama, quote, "stupidly started with me commenting on how I felt bad for not seeing the DM leak of info as bad as it was." So, again, she reiterates here that she was initially all fine and dandy with the DM leak until she watched Harsh Opinion's video on the Toby situation. Now, as funny as this sounds, I actually really love Harsh Opinions now. We've talked on Discord and she's literally so great. I genuinely enjoy her company. She has since deleted the video she made about the Toby situation and has apologized directly to me and Kai. Honestly, I urge you to go subscribe to her. She's a really nice girl who deserves your support. Her video on the Toby drama was biased and she recognizes that, but we're on good terms now, so let her know she's loved. But back to Peaches. Harsh Opinions video on the Toby drama is the main reason why Peaches began to switch her stance on the DM leak, ultimately throwing me and Kai under the bus. Harsh Opinions video, titled "So We're Just Gonna Pretend Now," response to Kai Weiss, was a pretty speculative and nitpicky video that criticized Kai and I on our behavior on Twitter throughout the whole situation. Peaches commented under Harsh's video stating, quote, "This is a good video. I've expressed my upset with those DMs being leaked too." This is a lie. She never indicated that she was upset with the DM leak to me at any point. She only commented on the personal story, which we've already talked about earlier. And I will admit, I did fall for the trap of not initially sympathizing the way I should have due to my more personal grievances with Toby. Was shitty of me to compare my private information being spread by her/her friends to hers, and it shouldn't even be a contest and should be treated equally abhorrent despite our differences and past arguments. Great video, and a new sub from me. This was the comment that eventually led to her coming to the conclusion that I leaked quote-unquote private information about Toby, whatever that means, and she began to switch her stance about the DM leak. She stated that the DM leak was equally abhorrent to her own experiences, even though the contexts were completely different. I've said it before, and I'll say it one more time because some people still don't seem to understand. I leaked my DMs with Toby because Toby lied publicly about what was being said in DMs. In order to clear my name, I provided evidence against her lies by leaking all relevant conversations necessary. You can think it's scummy all you want, but the reason behind it is valid. If someone lies about a conversation, you are fully in your right to expose the conversation to the public to disprove that claim. Just like if I lied about my conversation with Peaches, she is fully in her right to leak all relevant DMs to disprove those claims. It goes both ways. Quickly after watching Harsh's video, Peaches went onto her Twitter to subtweet about the Toby drama, saying, quote, "Sometimes watching drama isn't like watching a wreck on the road. Sometimes it's like watching more cars crashing into the wreck thinking that it will somehow move it off the road as more cars pile up, and you're just sat wondering how many more cars are going to do this before it's all over." And definitely got whisked up in following drama without looking at both sides. And I'm sorry for prejudging stuff and ignoring other things. I always like to say be objective, but clearly I wasn't this time. Guys, always look at both sides and put yourself in the shoes of both. Shortly after those tweets were posted, Peaches messaged me expressing her concerns about the way I handled the Toby situation thus far and explained the things she believed I did wrong. I pretty much held my ground throughout the conversation and I expressed my feelings in regards to her sudden change of opinion. I said, quote, "I'm also kind of disappointed how easily your opinion is swayed by that one video made by Harsh Opinions. She speculates a lot in her video and projects what she thinks the situation is." Peaches essentially responds by saying she's actually been thinking about this for a while and basically says that DMs are private, you shouldn't ever leak DMs without permission no matter what what the context is, etc. We started having a disagreement about the DMs and whether or not I should have leaked them. I stood by my DM leak and told her my side and why I did it. She didn't agree and kept saying that I needed to ask permission because apparently I need to ask permission despite the fact that Toby didn't ask permission to lie about the DMs on her Twitter. I have to ask permission to provide evidence, but Toby doesn't. Alright, the conversation continued on like this, but then she started harping about the idea that I leaked Toby's private information, which I didn't understand what she meant by that. This becomes important later. Then we continued to argue for a little bit before Peaches indicated that she was getting stressed out and felt like I was being condescending with her. Here, I say, I'm sorry what I said made you upset or made you believe I'm condescending. This isn't an argument, and the fact that you feel that way makes me feel disappointed in myself. I'm sorry for doing that and hurting you in that regard. I want this to be a conversation, but I also feel like you're not seeing the situation for what it really is. I want to make sure you understand that I apologize about this, and you not recognizing where I come from / how my natural response was is upsetting to me too. I recognize I made some blunders in my argument, and I know I hurt you that way. You hurt me too in the fact that I didn't feel heard or seen because I felt that you were blaming me for Toby lying about me. I'm sorry for my wrongdoings on my end, including my condescending apologies and being argumentative. Meaning, I was sorry for making her feel upset and was trying my best to make her feel comfortable despite our disagreement. I owned up to the things that I did that might have made her uncomfortable in the interaction. This is going to be important later, so just keep this in mind. The conversation continues extremely calm on my end. I attempted to be more patient with her when explaining my side and expressing my perspective. She couldn't empathize, however, and we did not reach a compromise or an understanding. I wished her well, and that was the last DM conversation we had. I knew she was done talking to me in DMs because considering the type of person Peaches is, one disagreement was enough to never talk to me again and instead try to speak on my behalf and delegitimize my experiences with Toby. But again, we shall get into that shortly. After our conversation was over, Peaches of course took to Twitter and said that she was feeling upset, extremely anxious, and that her heart was in pain, despite the fact that the conversation ended rather calmly and I simply threw in the towel and agreed to disagree. Not only that, but to have Peaches turn on me so suddenly when she expressed indifference days earlier hurt a lot, especially because more creators started to point fingers at me and Kai during the Toby situation. The way she subtweeted about our conversation made it look like I literally invalidated all her feelings and crushed her heart into pieces when I never did anything of the sort. A day after our conversation, she even went on to retweet this, which says, quote, "So basically, explain things properly and nicely with the intention of having a conversation and you may convince someone. Get mad, shout, and insult anyone who doesn't agree with you and you'll only be pissing on your own opinions in their eyes." Which is extremely rich considering I never got mad, shouted, or insulted Peaches ever throughout our conversation. Did I get annoyed? Yeah, I mean, it looked like Peaches immediately wanted to throw me under the bus after she watched Harsh's video, so of course I was annoyed. But I never got angry or insulted her or anything of the sort. And to give Peaches the benefit of the doubt, assuming that this subtweet wasn't even about me, even then, the timing is consistent with our conversation and her other two tweets were made immediately after our conversation ended, so it's not unfair to assume. However, it gets worse, as do most things like this do. Shortly after this whole debacle, Nani's video titled Kai's Video About Toby dropped on September 30th. It was also a pretty misinformed, biased video on the Toby situation, but Peaches just ate it up. Nani has since unlisted the video due to the backlash she has gotten from it, but the video was premiered. Kai and I were watching the video live and we saw Peaches had entered the live chat. She said stuff like, "Hey, Nani, nice to see a nice critique from a nice person like yourself. Toby is emotional and even though me and her don't see eye to eye, I know she isn't deliberately mean."
I'm mad because they're bitches. They're fucking assholes. They're cunts. Like, no, get fucked. I don't care how many followers you have. You're a fucking stupid bitch ass cunt. Like, get fucked. God, what a bitch. What a fucking little beta cunt. What a straight up fucking loser. What a stupid fucking little bitch. Fuck you, dude. Get fucked. I'm so sorry that your parents hate you because you're a disappointment, but that doesn't mean you have to go in and say shit like that. And sorry that your personality makes nobody like you.
Anyways, then Peaches goes on to lick Nani's boots, saying, quote, "Nani, can we be friends now? We friends now, uwu. Nani is too sweet in her videos. Ah! Nani, best furry president."
Editing Omnia here. I am here to inform you that a little piece of me died after reading that. F in the chat.
As if she didn't side with Kai and I days before. But that wasn't even the worst of it. Peaches went on to comment under Nani's video stating, quote, "From experiencing sides, both are bad, both need to apologize properly. I'm really sick of the drama and everyone in it." Which, if you understood the context of the drama, you would know that I already did apologize for the parts I played 2 days earlier on September 28th, and I decided to stop speaking publicly about the whole drama on October 1st. But you know who didn't stop subtweeting or talking about it? Peaches. She would keep going on and on about how harsh and Nani's videos weren't biased, how Kai and my behavior was underhanded, how disappointed in the internet she was because of the drama, and even on the days she would say, "I'm done following it," she would be right back to her bullshit, still subtweeting about it, still ruminating over how disappointing and meaningless it all was. But despite it all being quote-unquote upsetting and disappointing, she had considered making a retrospective video on it. It's almost like she thought it was stupid enough to make a video on, which makes no sense. This is something I had a huge problem with throughout the whole Toby drama. Like, if it was so stupid to everyone, why did they make videos or comment on it continuously? But that's a tangent. Anyways, aside from the chaos ensuing on Peach's Twitter account, she was also conversing with someone under Nani's comment section. By the way, apologies for this screenshot being crusty. Peaches has since deleted all of these comments, so quality is kinda sparse. The person she was conversing with, named AJ Gore, commented under her stating, "That's the laziest argument to make, especially if you just watch this video and are not the actual people involved. Omnia and Kai have apologized for being immature to Toby, but Toby hasn't apologized for shit. Omnia and Kai have already done their part. It's time for Toby to apologize." Peaches responded with, I just said that I have experienced both sides. I know them all personally, and I know they're all still being petty by talking to them, which, if you guys have been following this at all, you know that that's a lie too. We spoke on and off for a month. We disagreed on how I handled the Toby situation, and our relationship ended. Peaches is using the fact that we spoke in DMs for a month to leverage her argument that both sides are bad against me, which is not acceptable. AJ Gore says, "I don't know what you mean by both sides, but as I said, Omnia and Kai apologized for being petty. Toby deflected and dismissed things. It's Toby's turn to apologize for lying, gaslighting, not taking criticism, and twisting words." Peaches said, "Both sides, Omnia/Kai and Toby. I know them personally, as I said. That's why I can say with confidence, no apology has been genuine." That statement, again, was false and quite frankly, disgusting. Just because we talked in DMs doesn't mean that she had the right to speak for me and Kai about whether or not our apologies were genuine. Just because we talked in DMs for a month doesn't mean she knows me personally enough to know that that statement is false. Peaches goes on to say, "I know Toby isn't nice. I know she's bad. She's hurt me personally, but she never hurt Omnia and Kai, especially to the point where they leaked all her private info. Trust me, behind the scenes is worse than what's public." Again, I can't possibly understand knowing someone enough to the point where I know whether or not they're hurt by an action. Like, imagine claiming to know someone enough that you know exactly how hurt they are by someone lying about you, gaslighting you, insulting you, and straight up manipulating their audience to believe falsehoods about me. Not only that, but to then say that I leaked all of Toby's private information, like I doxed her or put her social security number out there for the world to see, is such a huge stretch. Then to go on and say that behind the scenes it's worse than what's public because we disagreed in DMs is just, it's a lot. That's when me and Kai noticed the thread and was like, what the fuck is happening? So Kai interjected in the thread stating, quote, "Hopeless Peaches, you don't know me personally. I barely know you. Don't lie to everyone like this." To which Peaches responded with, "If we have spoken multiple times in private and chatted over multiple topics, yes, I know you personally. Did I say we were joint at the hip? No. Stop picking and choosing what words mean. Please stop. It's upsetting." This is a problem because she is defining what knowing someone personally means for Kai and for me. If someone says, "Hey dude, you don't know me enough to claim that my apology isn't genuine or that I wasn't hurt by someone's actions," then maybe just listen? I don't know. Stop trying to leverage the fact that we spoke for a month to give credibility to your argument that is founded in falsehoods. Kai was even tempted to tweet this out, but I told him not to, as to not escalate the situation on Twitter even further. The tweet he was planning on releasing said, "By the way, please don't believe Peaches when she says she knows us personally. I haven't known Peaches for even a month. We barely talked. I've never even called her before. I disassociated with her after all this happened, and I'd like to keep it that way." Meaning, from the beginning, we did not agree with her claiming to know us enough to make false, misinformed claims like that on our behalf. In an attempt to de-escalate everything, I tried to be kind but stern in my approach to her. I went on to say, "Can you please stop claiming that you know Kai and I personally? We've talked a handful of times. I'd appreciate it if you stopped attempting to speak on my behalf. You don't know me personally." Peaches responded saying, "Oh, sorry, my bad. I guess I don't know you. Easy to mistake lots of banter and conversations as knowing you more personally than just VIA videos. I just personally think I made friends after a month of talking. Sorry."
Girl, what type of friend repeatedly speaks on my behalf even after I kindly ask you to stop? Anyways, chilly.
To which I responded, "I'm sorry, but you don't really know anything personal about me, so I don't think it's fair for you to say that you know me personally. You're fine. I'd just appreciate it if you stopped speaking on my behalf." I was doing my best to bite my tongue and just say that it's fine, it's okay, just please stop. But she wouldn't. She kept going, saying, "How is it on your behalf? I said a personal opinion from my perspective based on knowing you for a month. Unless I'm supposed to pretend I barely know you unless I say good things, as Kai puts it. It's upsetting, honestly." I go on to say, "Peaches, you can't claim to know me personally and then say that Toby never heard Omnia and Kai to the point where they leaked all her private info, which I never did anything of the sort. You can't claim to know me personally and then say that no apology has been genuine." Peaches didn't like this because she responded with, "Omnia, I won't go off on a comment section fighting you all day. Instead, I'll just leave it at this. Yeah, I don't know anything too personal about you, but you know personal stuff about me. You knew personal stuff about Toby. You acted all nice and friendly with me and friendly with Toby until a disagreement happened. Then, suddenly it's, I barely know you. If you aren't an open person, sure, fine, that's okay. But if you don't want to be friends or friendly, don't accept to listen to people's personal stuff who clearly see you as something more than a stranger. You don't barely know me. You know me far more than I know you, which I usually don't care about in friendships as I accept all forms of openness. But if you can't accept that, then it feels more like a power disparity." I was getting a little exhausted at this point, so I simply responded with, "That's never what this conversation was about though. All I asked of you was to not speak on my behalf, that is all. I would appreciate it if you didn't speak on my behalf. Thanks." Again, Peaches didn't like this, so she said, "Just to help you, as you seem to be misunderstanding talking on X's behalf, having my own personal opinion and presenting them as my own opinions is not talking on your behalf. That is saying what I have seen personally, a personal opinion. HO, or harsh opinions, says Kai is talking on your behalf due to him talking and presenting it as your opinion, not his. I am not doing that at all. Me knowing you doesn't mean I have to be silent. I am just choosing to now because I see it's pointless, seeming as you lied about even knowing me, the most trivial thing ever." Again, that's a yikes from me. I said, "I never stated you don't know me at all, nor did I lie about you ever even knowing me. I stated that despite the fact that we have talked a handful of times, you don't know me personally. When you say that no apology has been genuine, it appears as though you are stating a fact. When you say that Toby never hurt Omnia and Kai to the point where they leaked all her private info, it appears as though you are stating a fact. Claiming that you know me personally gives leverage to that argument." Someone below my comment even reiterated that Nani's video was not a good take, to which Peaches responded with a passive-aggressive, "Well, with how petty all this drama has been, my standards have lowered." Again, very rich of her to say that when, after this conversation was said and done, she went on to continue to subtweet about the situation, went on to comment under Just a Robot, Mega Comment, and Fuchsia Butter's video, thanking them for making the video. You know, the one that called Kai racist and me a dense-skulled leech? Yeah, that one. She even went on to pivot her approach to the drama again. After Spockner made a video to which he states in his live chat, people assumed I was friends with Toby.
I wonder why anyone would assume that.
Despite myself and, I hope, Anya knew how much I agreed with their videos. And she, of course, had to give her 2 cents in about how much she agreed with the Hotbox when he reported about Toby's lover-host situation on Twitch. There's just been so many mixed messages. Like, please just pick a stance and stick to it instead of changing yourself whenever it's convenient. Peaches has gone back and forth on the Toby drama repeatedly. At the height of the drama, when it was popular for other creators to shit on me and Kai, that's what she did. After the drama simmered down and everyone realized that Toby is the one we should really be critiquing, she apologized and pivoted. And although she did apologize to me and Kai, she decided to go back on her word 2 days later and try to paint prison mate Luke as this guy who stalks her every move and wants her to off herself. It's disgusting and deplorable. You can't apologize to Kai and I, then immediately make the same mistake or similar mistakes with someone else. You can't perpetually lie about creators and hope that no one will voice their experiences with you. Everyone, including me, Kai, Luke, Shannon, Avrona, and Camila Cuevas are all jumping out of the closet to air our grievances with you, and you only have yourself to blame. It's a shame because you did it so many times in so many different situations and got away with it for so long. But all it took is one brave person to say, hey, this isn't okay, and now we're all coming forward with our less than ideal experiences with you. I want to end my video off with one last subtweet Peaches made that was meant to be directed at Toby but unintentionally refers to her too. Hot take! If you use mental illness as an excuse for literally every bad thing you do, harassment, lies, discrimination, you are not being quirky, you're throwing everyone else under the bus who have your disorder. Mental illness has a lot of stigma already, don't add more. Peaches, I hope you can take a piece of your own advice, acknowledge where you went wrong, and make a sincere, genuine apology where you learn, grow, and never make these mistakes again. Thank you to everyone who has made it all the way through and heard my piece. As always, a big thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel every month. If you would like to contribute to my Patreon, the links will be in the description below. As little as $2 per month helps a ton, so please consider signing up to be a patron. Thank you to BLUUOO on Twitter for this absolutely amazing fan art, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye!